Dr. Sage here. Today we begin our video series on the integumentary system. In particular, today we discuss the layers of the skin. By the end of this video, you should be able to identify the components of the integumentary system, describe the layers of the skin and the functions of each layer, identify and describe the hypodermis and deep fascia, describe the role of keratinocytes and their life cycle, describe the role of melanocytes in skin pigmentation. The skin and its accessory structures make up the integumentary system, which provides the body with overall protection. The skin is made up of multiple layers of cells and tissues which are held to underlying structures by connective tissues. The deeper layer of skin is well vascularized, in other words, it has numerous blood vessels. It also has numerous sensory and autonomic and sympathetic nerve fibers, ensuring communication to and from the brain. The epidermis is composed of keratinized, stratified squamous epithelium. It is made of 4 or 5 layers of epithelial cells, depending on its location in the body. It does not have any blood vessels within it, in other words, it's avascular. Skin that has 4 layers of cells is referred to as thin skin. From deep to superficial, these layers are the stratum basal, the stratum spinosum, the stratum granulosum, and the stratum corneum. Most of the skin can be classified as thin skin. Thick skin is only found on the palms of the hands and soles of the feet. It has a 5th layer, called the stratum lucidum, located between the stratum corneum and the stratum granulosum. The cells in all of the layers except for the stratum basal are called keratinocytes. A keratinocyte is a cell that manufactures and stores the protein keratin. Keratin is an intracellular fibrous protein that gives hair, nails, and skin their hardness and water-resistant properties. The keratinocytes in the stratum corneum are dead and regularly slough away, being replaced by cells from the deeper layers. The stratum basal is the deepest epidermal layer and attaches the epidermis to the basal lamina, below which lie the layers of the dermis. The cells in the stratum basal bond to the dermis via intertwining collagen fibers, referred to as a basement membrane. A finger-like projection or fold, known as the dermal papilla, is found in the superficial portion of the dermis. Dermal papilla increases strength of the connection between epidermis and dermis. The greater the folding, the stronger the connections made. The stratum basal is a single layer of cells primarily made of basal cells. A basal cell is a cuboidal-shaped stem cell that is a precursor of the keratinocytes of the epidermis. All of the keratinocytes are produced from this single layer of cells, which are constantly going through mitosis to produce new cells. As new cells are formed, the existing cells are pushed superficially away from the stratum basal. 2 other cell types are found dispersed among the basal cells in the stratum basal. The first is a Merkel cell, which functions as a receptor and is responsible for stimulating sensory nerves that the brain perceives as touch. These cells are especially abundant on the surfaces of hands and feet. The second is a melanocyte, a cell that produces a pigment melanin. Melanin gives hair and skin its color and also helps protect the living cells of the epidermis from ultraviolet radiation damage. In a growing fetus, fingerprints form where the cells of the stratum basal meet the papilla of the underlying dermal layer, resulting in the formation of the ridges on your fingers that you recognize as fingerprints. Fingerprints are unique to each individual and are used for forensic analysis because the patterns do not change with the growth and aging process. As the name suggests, the stratum spinosum is spiny in appearance due to the protruding cell processes that join the cells via a structure called a desmosome. The desmosomes interlock with each other and strengthen the bond between the cells. It's interesting to note that the spiny nature of the cell layer is an artifact of the staining process. Unstained epidermis samples do not exhibit the characteristic appearance. The stratum spinosum is composed of 8 to 10 layers of keratinocytes, formed as a result of cell division in the stratum basal. Interspersed among the keratinocytes of this layer is a type of dendritic cell called the Langerhans cell, which functions as a macrophage by engulfing bacteria, foreign particles, and damaged cells that occur in this layer. The keratinocytes in the stratum spinosum begin with the synthesis of keratin and release a water-repellent glycolipid that helps prevent water loss from the body, making the skin relatively waterproof. As new keratinocytes are produced atop the stratum basal, the keratinocytes of the stratum spinosum are pushed to the stratum granulosum. The stratum granulosum has a grainy appearance due to further changes to the keratinocytes as they are pushed from the stratum spinosum. The cells, 3 to 5 layers deep, become flatter. Their cell membranes thicken, and then generate large amounts of the proteins keratin, which is fibrous and keratohalin, which accumulates as laminar granules within the cells. Although there are protein granules of keratohalin, which contain keratin precursors that aggregate, cross-link, and form bundles, they are different from the laminar bodies, which contain glycolipids that are secreted to the cell surface and help to form a waterproof barrier to prevent fluid loss from the body. These two proteins make up the bulk of the keratinocyte mass in the stratum granulosome and give the layer its grainy appearance. The nuclei and other cell organelles disintegrate as the cells die, leaving behind the keratin, keratinohalin, and cell membranes that will form the stratum lucidum, the stratum corneum, and the accessory structures of hair and nails. The stratum lucidum is a smooth, seemingly translucent layer of the epidermis located just above the stratum granulosome and below the stratum corneum. This thin layer of cells is found only in the thick skin of palms, soles, and digits. The keratinocytes that compose the stratum lucidum are dead and flattened. These cells are densely packed with elidin, a clear protein derived from keratohalin, which gives these cells their transparent appearance. The stratum corneum is the most superficial layer of the epidermis and is the layer exposed to the outside environment. The increased keratinization of the cells in this layer give it its name. There are usually 15 to 30 layers of cells in the stratum corneum. This dry, dead layer helps prevent the penetration of microbes and the dehydration of underlying tissues and provides a mechanical protection against abrasion for the more delicate underlying layers. Cells in this layer are shed periodically and are replaced by cells pushed up from the stratum granulosome or stratum luceum in the case of the palms and soles of feet. The entire layer is replaced during a period of about 4 weeks. The dermis might be considered the core of the integumentary system. Derma means skin. As distinct from the epidermis, epi means upon or over, and hypodermis, hypo means below. It contains blood and lymph vessels, nerves, and other structures such as hair follicles and sweat glands. The dermis is made of 2 layers of connective tissue that compose an interconnected mesh of elastin and collagenous fibers produced by fibroblasts. The papillary layer is made of loose, areolar connective tissue, which means the collagen and elastin fibers in this layer form a loose mesh. This superficial layer of the dermis projects into the stratum basal of the epidermis to form finger-like dermal papillae. Within the papillary layer are fibroblasts, a small number of adipocytes, and an abundance of small blood vessels. In addition, the papillary layer contains phagocytes, which are defensive cells that help fight bacteria or other infections that have breached the skin. This layer also contains lymphatic capillaries, nerve fibers, and touch receptors called the mesenteric corpuscles. Underlying the papillary layer is a much thicker reticular layer composed of dense, irregular connective tissue. This layer is well vascularized and has a rich sensory and sympathetic nerve supply. The reticular layer appears reticulated, in other words net-like, due to a tight meshwork of fibers. Elastin fibers provide some elasticity to the skin, enabling movement. Collagen fibers provide structure and tensile strength, with strands of collagen extending into both the papillary layer and the hypodermis. In addition, collagen binds water to keep the skin hydrated. The hypodermis, also called the subcutaneous layer or superficial fascia, is a layer directly below the dermis and serves to connect the skin to the underlying fascia, or fibrous tissue, of the bones and muscles. It is not strictly a part of the skin, although the border between hypodermis and dermis can be difficult to distinguish. The hypodermis consists of well-vascularized, loose, areolar connective tissue and adipose tissue, which functions as a mode of fat storage and provides insulation and cushioning for the integument. The color of skin is influenced by a number of pigments, including melanin, keratin, and hemoglobin. Recall that melanin is produced by cells called melanocytes, which are found scattered throughout the stratum basal of the epidermis. The melanin is transferred to the keratinocytes via a cellular vesicle called melanosome. The melanin occurs in 2 primary forms. Eumelanin exists as black and brown, whereas phenylamelanin provides a red color. Dark-skinned individuals produce more melanin than those with pale skin. Exposure to the UV rays of the sun or a tanning salon causes melanin to be manufactured and built up in keratinocytes, as sun exposure stimulates keratinocytes to secrete chemicals that stimulate melanocytes. The accumulation of melanin in keratinocytes results in the darkening of the skin or a tan. This increased melanin accumulation protects the DNA of epidermal cells from UV ray damage and the breakdown of folic acid, a nutrient necessary for our health and well-being. In contrast, too much melanin can interfere with the production of vitamin D, an important nutrient involved in calcium absorption. It requires about 10 days after initial sun exposure for melanin synthesis to peak, which is why pale-skinned individuals tend to suffer sunburns of the epidermis initially. Dark-skinned individuals can get sunburns but are more protected than our pale-skinned individuals. Melanosomes are temporary structures that are eventually destroyed by fusion with lysosomes. This fact, along with the melanin-filled keratinocytes in the stratum corneum sloughing off, makes tanning impermanent. Too much sun exposure can eventually lead to wrinkling due to the destruction of the cellular structures of the skin, and in severe cases can cause sufficient DNA damage to result in skin cancer. When there is a regular accumulation of melanocytes in the skin, freckles appear. Moles are larger masses of melanocytes, and although most are benign, they should be monitored for changes that might indicate the presence of cancer. This lecture has been on the layers of the skin, and was the first in a series about the integumentary system. Until next time, this has been Dr. Sage.